today we're going to go on a very special sail across the Hudson into the New York Harbor. And we're joined by the Hetrick-Martin Institute, who's a very great institute that's working with the LGBTQA plus youth here in New York City for many, many years. We're going to learn more about it with Scott Maitland, who knows everything about the Institute, works with the Institute, and gets more partnerships with the Institute to spread the word of helping people who might have difficulty in other areas of life. So this is Scott Maitland of the Hetrick-Martin Institute, and what is the Institute?
Yeah, so the Hetrick-Martin Institute is the oldest LGBTQIA plus organization for youth here in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were founded in 1979 by two doctors, Dr. Hetrick and Dr. Martin, who were actually also life partners. And we have to remember, this is 10 years after the Stonewall riots and just 9 short years after the first Pride Liberation March. And they realized there was a need for a safe space for young LGBT, kids to be themselves, their authentic selves.
Oh, really? And then a lot of those LGBTQI plus kids used to hang out in this area, right?
Yeah, at the Christopher Street Piers.
Yeah.
I mean, Christopher Street is kind of like the birthplace of, so many things. Stonewall is on Christopher Street.
Yeah.
Ballroom, which really originated in Harlem as pushback against drag balls in New York. Was a safe place for black and brown queer people to express themselves and be their authentic selves, and those youth who participate in balls would hang out at the Christopher Street Piers, and it's like a safe place just to be themselves. They were too young to go into bars and needed a safe place to chill out, but back then Christopher Street doesn't look like it does now.
No, it doesn't.
And so people weren't hanging out there, so they kind of own that space.
If you want to get a sense of how it used to look like, you can check out Paris is Burning, a great documentary. And then what does the Institute, how is it involved with ballroom culture?
Yeah, so...
first, what is ballroom culture?
Ballroom culture is kind of hard to define.
Yeah.
It's an amazing culture of black and brown, queer, non-binary, trans folks. As I said, it started out as an offshoot of drag balls, and there's another documentary called The Queen, and in that documentary, I think it came out in '69, in that documentary, Crystal LeBic did not win, and she felt like she should have. And a lot of the black and brown queens were expected to lighten their skin to participate in ballroom. And she got pissed that she didn't win, and I agree that she probably should have. And rather than just getting angry about it, she decided she was going to do something about it, and she started up her own ball. But she did something even more important than that. She created the first house, the House of LaBeija. And if you watch Paris is Burning, you'll see Pepper LaBeija, and the House of LaBeija is still going strong. We say that you have a biological family, but we then, as queer people, create our logical families, the people that we want to be with. And so Crystal was the house mother and had the first ball in Harlem, and it just grew from kind of its roots in drag, but then becoming something even more than that. So walking the runway and voguing. If you're familiar with Madonna's song Vogue, yeah. she co-opted that from the ballroom scene. And that's where it started.
And the New York equivalent of whacking as well.
Yeah. And so in the early aughts, Hetrick-Martin Institute and GMHC created the Kiki scene. And Kiki is ballroom for young people. It's a safe place for them to begin to hone their skills, figure out their identity, join a house, become something bigger than what they are. So at HMI, we have practices for Kiki twice a month. We have Vogue Femme Fridays, where it's a ball, mini ball at HMI, so the youth can participate. Just last weekend at Astor Place, we worked with the Kiki Coalition to create Youth Pride Fest, and we had a ball there. And in January, we host the HMI Ball, which is another opportunity for young people to strut their stuff and be their authentic selves.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then what's the age range with the youth program?
So at HMI, we work with youth ages 13 to 24.
Okay.
And it's so important for places like HMI because if you really think about it, young, black, brown, trans, non-binary folks, they're the ones that fought back at Stonewall. They have been at the forefront of all of our rights for liberation, and they continue to be at the forefront. So having a space like HMI gives them an opportunity to be nurtured, to be authentic, to have something they can count on. to know that they're being taken care of. And the biggest thing that I think we're known for at HMI, and what we're most proud of, is our mental health services.
So here they are putting up the sail. This happens every time you take a ride on the Schooner America 2.0. All right, as we're passing Christopher Street, the youth of New York, the LGBTQIA+ youth would have had struggled to find a place to hang out and to gather, right?
They still do.
They still do,
They
okay.
still do.
How has the Hetrick-Martin Institute provided like a physical space?
Yeah, so a lot of different things. Back in the early 90s, we actually created the Harvey Milk School.
And then let us know who Harvey Milk is. He's a very
Harvey
important
Milk.
figure.
Yes, Harvey. Well, it's interesting that we're on a boat right now because Harvey Milk was actually in the Navy.
Oh, he was?
Yes,
yeah.
He was a naval officer, and he was the first openly gay elected official in San Francisco. I think in the country, but definitely in San Francisco. And unfortunately, we lost him to an act of violence. Him and the mayor of San Francisco. But Harvey Milk is originally from New York, and we realized that there needed to be a safe place where young people could learn. And so the school originally was not accredited. It was just a safe haven for people to get their education. It is now currently run by the Department of Education, so it's a fully accredited high school. And very excitingly, actually, Monday is graduation. And there'll be 20 students graduating from the Harvey Milk High School on Monday. But even at HMI, for those that don't have a high school diploma, we help them if they'd like to get their high school equivalency. We have opportunities for them to get into college and do college prep work with them. We do job readiness to help them find jobs, internships, paid internships. We work with companies to provide financial literacy so that they can understand, how to move forward and live their best life. I mean, that's really what we're about.
And then what other programs are there?
So many. So like I said, the biggest thing that we do really is focused on mental health. And we come from a model of liberation focused mental health services. For so many in the United States, mental health is kind of rooted in an insurance system. All of our services are free at HMI. And we don't call our youth clients. They're not clients, they're members. Here in America, when you access mental health, if you're lucky enough to have insurance, you go through the rigmarole and they give you a diagnosis and you start off and say, well, this is what's wrong with me. We don't do that. At HMI, we really focus on saying, you are perfect the way you are. Let's help give you the tools to navigate the world on your terms, And yeah, you're going to make course corrections, of course, but it's focused on you.
Right.
And we take that approach to everything we do. So 5 nights a week at HMI, we serve dinner. And we have a chef who makes nutritious meals for them, and we consider that mental health because they're not eating solitary. They're eating with their peers.
Yeah.
We have case managers there.
That's a great program,
yeah,
actually.
we have staff there. We can do check-ins with them.
Makes people feel more connected, too.
Exactly.
And so a community has developed over the years.
Absolutely. A family.
Oh,
a family,
yeah.
We have a pantry. We ask folks to donate brand new clothing items, preferably with tags on them, so that the youth can go shopping. They don't call it retail therapy for anything. It means something. And when they go in and shop in the pantry, they're there again with the case manager, do a pulse check. Hey, what's going on? How are you doing? What do you need? We want them to feel like everyone else, because they are. They are like everyone else, right? So that's part of mental health. When they're getting an internship, we actually coordinate with the company, the youth, and it's a triad. So we're all connected, and we can act as a resource to support the youth, but also support the businesses. So everything we do is rooted in that mental health system, and it's not just here in New York. Actually,
so it's expanded to other cities.
Well, our goal is to provide opportunities so that we can train other nonprofits in our method and models.
Oh, great.
So that, if there's a nonprofit in, say, Omaha, Nebraska, or in Duluth, Minnesota, we can teach them what we know and our expertise. I am 50 years young, but I came out in Dallas, Texas in the 90s, and the AIDS pandemic was still going on, and it still wasn't an easy time. I remember living in Dallas. October 11th is National Coming Out Day, and for those of us that were brave enough, we would spend our own money to take out a full-page ad in the Dallas Morning News saying that we were out and proud.
Oh, nice.
And I remember that. And when the opportunity came, I joined relatively recently on Halloween last year, and when I saw there was an opportunity at Hetrick-Martin, I knew I had to be there. I wanted to get back to my roots. I wanted a space that I wish someone had given me when I was younger.
And then let me show you the flag that went up right over here. So right here, the crew, alongside the American flag, the United States of America, we have the pride flag flying high. It's going to be a little bit hard to get a nice view of it. Right here, you can see it. Scott,
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit about the importance of the pride flag?
Oh, wow. Yes. Yes and no. I will say
It's a long history, too.
Yeah, so it's gone through many iterations. Matter of fact, the flag that we see is not the first iteration of it. The very first iteration had more colors, and for practical reasons, it wasn't printed anymore because of the colors.
Right.
It was hard to produce. This flag is probably the most common pride flag with red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. But it's gone through so many more iterations, and now we've added even more amazing colors to the rainbow flag, and that includes black and brown to represent the amazing people of color that were there at the forefront. Like I said, at Stonewall. They have added the transgender pride flag colors, which is pink, blue, and white to that flag as well. And sometimes you'll see yellow with purple for intersex as well. We have such a diverse, amazing community, and that's why at HMI we say LGBTQIA+, because we want to try to encompass as many unique individuals and make them feel seen because they deserve to be seen. And also the plus at HMI is everyone's welcome at HMI at Hetrick-Martin. Not everyone who goes there is queer. We have straight people there as well. We don't care. If you are in need, we are there to support you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And why New York specifically? Of course, the founders were from here, and one of them was an NYU professor. Right?
Yeah. So Dr. Hetrick was a psychologist, and Dr. Martin was a professor at NYU. That's where they were living, and that's where it was created. I think at one point, prior to the beginning of the pandemic, we had thought about adding more HMIs throughout the country, and then the pandemic happened, and that kind of made us shift our focus, and we realized that actually what might be better is to work with other organizations throughout the United States and worldwide and teach them our approach to mental health.
Right.
From that liberation-focused model that we were talking about earlier, because we can't be everywhere, but we can work with organizations and teach them and use the HMI model to make a difference.
And that said, what do you think is the future of HMI?
Wow. In a perfect world, my vision is that we will no longer need a place like HMI.
Oh, yeah. Indeed.
Because all of us will be given the opportunity to just be accepted for who we are. But until that happens, I think HMI is going to continue to be the leader in mental health services for young LGBTQIA+ youth. We're going to be there to keep supporting youth, lifting them up, celebrating them, most importantly. Matter of fact, most nonprofits do a gala every year, and it typically consists of like a black tie dinner, and those are great. And we decided that we wanted to switch it up a little bit, so we have a ball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it'll be Thursday, November 16th here in New York City at Terminal 5. Everyone should come, but it's an amazing party, and it's not just about getting donors together to give money. It's about showing our youth at their best, at the top of their game. We want to celebrate their successes, not focus on the mistreatment of them. We want everyone to see how capable, how spectacular, how amazing they are, how they are a treasure and a gift to all of us.
Right.
And they're there too. We don't just celebrate for them; we celebrate with them.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yes. It's not just like a prom or something like that.
Yeah, it's
a celebration for everyone.
Exactly,
both the organizers and the youth, too.
Yeah, and then we hire 4 houses to perform. So not only do we raise money for the community.
So you mentioned one house so far.
I mentioned one of the original houses. There are 2 houses of note that I'd love to mention, and there's so many. So if anyone is in a house, and I did not mention your name, I mean no disrespect, but there are 2 houses of note. The House of La Beja, because they were the first, and then the House of Extravaganza. And the House of Extravaganza was the first Latin house.
Oh, cool.
So those are the legendary houses. But there are so many other houses, especially in the Kiki scene. There's the House of Juicy Couture, there's the House of Old Navy, so many of them. I would not be able to list all of them.
Right.
And the house system has expanded. It's not just here in New York. It's nationwide. It's worldwide.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the last time there was a convention of houses, it was actually, I believe, in Amsterdam last year.
Oh, here we can see the flag flying high. A little bit better perspective. That is the Pride flag, standing for the LGBTQAI+ community. Stay curious, my friends. Be Pride to everyone out there. Bye-bye.